How's it going, everybody? I am Wildman Wes.
And I am your Big Bad Wolf Benny.
And welcome to an exclusive little segment of the Wild Wolf Show. Technically not normally one of our regular episodes, but,
It's around.
2 days ago we got to see, 2 days ago we got to see the greatest documentary of all time on HBO about the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant!
Yes.
Whew.
If you're a wrestling fan, you know who Andre the Giant is. He was the biggest man in wrestling history, and he has been tried to be duplicated, but he has never been replicated because he is one of a kind. He is the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant.
Oh, yes. This documentary had a lot of people from the past, as well as people, from the future. I mean, by the future, I mean Dave Meltzer, but then again, he's technically from the past in Wrestling Observatory, but it is what it is.
Potatoes, we're just trying to explain it to you. So anyway, guys, all we can say about this is, if you know who Andre the Giant is, you're gonna cry because Vince McMahon cries, and that man does not cry for anything.
Nope.
And the fact that he cried when Andre died, it just shows you that he is human. Everybody has their moments. Andre the Giant was probably the first Hulk Hogan. And I'm using that term very, very loosely because Andre was billed as being undefeated for 15 years. That was never, and probably will never, ever be heard of again.
Not just that, but even Hulk Hogan in the documentary states, Andre was the man. And if Hulk Hogan says somebody's the man,
true.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I liked the documentary for what it was.
Yes.
Because they didn't just talk about
His wrestling career, his
No.
acting career. They talked about his personal life.
And from when he was younger, I mean, even they have audio commentary of Andre talking about how he played soccer and rugby. I never knew that. I mean,
I didn't know
I had
that. He's
seen
a good guy.
Well, I mean, there were a couple of documentaries that came out through the 90s and the early 2000s that really just talked about his career and where he grew up in France. And
every wrestler who jumped in the ring with him will say, they may have been strong, but they were not superhuman like Andre. Andre was truly one of a kind. Can never be duplicated. And just it showed in the ring. In his early years, in his prime, I wouldn't want to jump in the ring with him.
No.
Because if he really wanted to hurt you, he could have with a little bit of his pinky finger. But he was just a monster of a man, but he had the kindest soul.
Exactly. And I also like the fact that a lot of performers in ring and out of ring would say, if Andre respected you, he'd put you over. If he didn't respect you, you were in for a long haul. Just like Randy Savage that they talked about in the documentary.
They talked about in the documentary. If you could make it 5 minutes where you were actually winning against Andre, you knew you were going to go over. If you didn't make that 5-minute mark, you're probably going to get buried because Andre didn't trust you, and Andre's word was golden because he was the man. You hear wrestling God all the time, you think Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. Andre is the one and only wrestling God.
Oh, yeah.
Not simply just based on his size, which did play an important factor, but based on just his personality. He wanted to make sure everybody was safe in the ring. And him being 7'4", nearly 500 pounds, standing a full head, maybe 200 to 300 pounds over everybody. The fact that this guy wanted to make sure that you were safe in the ring, because he wanted to be safe in the ring, that says a lot just about how classy wrestlers are. Exactly. Because one fail move, you could kill somebody. You could paralyze somebody. We've seen it before in the wrestling industry. One bad move, and that person's no longer a wrestler anymore. He's a person.
Exactly.
So Andre the Giant wanted to make sure every time he stepped in the ring with somebody, you were safe, because he wanted to make sure everybody in the audience was entertained, and he wanted to make sure that the promoter, this was still when we had territories, people, that their territory looked good. So Andre the Giant really cared about wrestling because not only did it make him a star, but it made him feel not like a freak. And I use that term loosely because, he's 7'4", and that's a common thing now. But back in the day, that was a rarity. Mm-hmm. And in the documentary, if you watch it, Hogan makes a point where he's like, one time in the airport, I'm falling behind Andre, and you hear the people point and look at him, and they make fun of him. How could a guy this big? He didn't choose to be that way, and Andre says it how many times in the documentary? I'm just as God made me.
Yeah, and all I ever wanted was to make everybody happy. And just like you said about being an entertainer...
And I'm sorry, the Big Show stole his smile from Andre the Giant.
A little bit.
He had the biggest smile ever. And it just made you feel good.
But with that whole entertainment aspect, you were talking about how he wants to make everybody happy that was, outside the ring watching for years. During the documentary, they also brought us to the 1987 family classic Princess Bride, where Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal and even Robin Wright were talking about his time on the film. And Carrie Elways. And they talked about how Rob Reiner talks about how he always wanted to make everybody happy and just have a good time. And he always said, nobody looks at me, like the way they do at the airport. Everybody just, and Andre always used the term boss.
Yes.
And other people use the term boss now. I mean, and this phrase has been coined for years now.
Yeah. I use it now. If I meet somebody at the bar and I don't remember their name, I call them boss. Well, it's just a habit.
Well, not just that.
Andre did it out of respect.
Yeah.
It was out of respect for Andre. For me, it's just because I was a drunk idiot. I don't remember your name. But for Andre, it was a sign of respect. If he called you boss, he trusted you, and he knew you were going to take care of him.
Yeah. And I mean, we all knew how the documentary was going to end. Unfortunately, Andre the Giant passed away in 1993, and I had known that he had a daughter at one point with one of those early documentaries I had,
they
talked
mentioned
about.
It that he had an offspring, yes.
But in this documentary, you actually get to see her, and she actually talks.
Hear from her.
And at the end of it, where you find out his estate, his estate in North Carolina was left to her. That is awesome. And you know what? I mean, there are a lot of wrestlers that have kids that they don't necessarily talk to anymore. And in this situation, they were estranged for a while because Andre's,
such a celebrity. Let's be fair. It's because he was such a big celebrity. He didn't want to bring that burden on his daughter. He wanted her to have a normal life. And they mentioned that in the documentary. But I actually mentioned earlier when we were watching the documentary, everybody wants to be Andre. They want to be that big star. But not everybody can deal with the pain that he had to deal through every day. So that just shows you how strong of an individual he was. He was, diagnosed, he had that gigantism thing. He could have had the surgery when he was offered it. It was kind of primitive, but they did tell him he would survive it. But like I said earlier, he said, "I'm as God has made me." That's how he wanted to go out. He refused any surgery. He did have a couple minor surgeries, like on his knees and his back, so he could still function.
And his ankle break.
Yes, but I think the biggest thing for me, which I didn't know until I knew before the documentary, but when you watch it the first time, The Princess Bride, when the actress Robin Wright jumps out the window, and Andre can catch her. He couldn't.
They had to put her on wires.
They had to put her on wires. His back was that bad. And what does he do when he catches though, even though he's in pain?
Smiles.
He puts that big smile on his face.
Oh yeah.
Because it's been a proven fact that the saddest people always try to make everybody else feel happy. Andre the Giant is the perfect example of that. This man lived through pain. Ankles, knees, back, everything. Everything hurt this man. And he would still go out with a smile on his face, even though he knew people behind his back were making fun of him because he was so tall.
Yeah.
Because he was considered a freak at the time. He was a person. And you know what? He's probably the greatest person in the world. You hear stories all the time about his generosity. That's Andre the Giant.
And we could all,
everybody could take a page out of his book.
Exactly.
And just make you a little bit better. Smile at somebody. That's all it takes. A smile. That smile can save somebody's life. And Andre just wanted to make everybody happy.
And for me and you, I guarantee to this day, he always makes us happy.
Every time I see a match with Andre the Giant, I'm happy. So I'm like, you know what? 1, you're getting a good show. 2, he loves it to death. And 3, it made him happy.
Yeah. So, hopefully you enjoyed this little recap on the documentary of Andre the Giant. If you haven't seen it yet, if you don't have HBO...
Fire Stick.
Yeah, Fire Stick. Chances are there's probably recaps on YouTube or, if anything... HBO, there. If you have a smart TV, I'm sure the app will have it on demand at some point, or your local cable provider.
Or you know what? If you want to get a WWE subscription for the channel, go watch some of the Andre matches, just to show you how like every match with the big guy now is basically just an Andre the Giant match. That's just how much he impacted the wrestling business. Watch it, live it, and love it. That's
And
what
I
we say on this
know
channel.
you'll love it.
Oh, it's Andre the Giant. How can you not?
Exactly. Well, we hope you enjoyed this little recap. Make sure that you like and share with your friends. And as always, push the red button.
Ring that bell.
Bang.
Get those notifications. And as always, on this channel, we love ya. We hope you keep coming back. Keep watching. Share to your friends, because you know what? We don't have much, but we have you.
Exactly. And if there's anything you want to see on this channel, make sure you leave a request in the comment section below, and we'll get to it as quick as possible.
We have many segments on this channel, and we're always looking for a new one. So you could give us the idea, and we will give you a shout-out in the process.
That. Oh, yeah. Until then, I'm Wild Man Wes.
And I am your Big Bad Wolf Benny.
And we will see you next time on The Wild Wolf Show, or anything on Dragonfire Entertainment. See you soon.
Love you guys.